and my passion into the district. And first of all, who are the new members? You're new. How many months, years? What?
I'm a past president.
Oh, awesome.
Of the Nyack Rotary Club.
Oh, the Nyack.
I recently moved to Connecticut.
Awesome.
And I just joined maybe within the last month here in
Oh,
New Canaan.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And who are the other newer members? How long have you been a member?
3 months? Months.
Awesome.
It's been a dream.
It's been a dream.
I love that.
But you know what? And the dream continues.
Right. We're hoping it doesn't turn into a nightmare.
No. Not gonna happen, not gonna happen. So, let me talk about what I want to talk about. First of all, before I get into my core conversation, and I have till the end of the meeting, is that right?
Yes.
Thereabouts?
Wait, there was one more new member.
1/3.
Oh, wait, another new,
Just a month.
a month.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why I'm asking this question, which you're going to hear in a moment. But I want to acknowledge something that recently has happened in our region. I think it's really good for us to take a moment. In August 18th in particular, it may have hit this area to some degree. There was a weather event that went from Long Island up through southwestern Connecticut into Litchfield County and created over $1 billion worth of damage. And if you go north to Ansonia, Seymour and Oxford, Southbury, Wilton, it's just devastated our Connecticut communities. So right off the bat, we went into action. You know, it's a funny thing. For those of you who don't remember Jeff Catterett was one of our zone directors. And when the pandemic hit, he came on a Zoom call with us and said, we were built for this. Rotary was built for this moment. Because we're people of action and we respond to these issues and we find ways. And what happened during the pandemic? You all remember the Million Mask Challenge Tour? Jack Solomon and the East Hampton Club, then District Governor, along with Ted Rossi, who donated 5.5 million masks. We delivered them from Maine down to New York City, and that was our district delivering them. And this is the kind of work that our district does. It's pretty uncanny. And but I talk about this is because we went out, immediately created a task force being led by current president of the Milford Rotary Club, Phil Yusi. Has been doing a great job, along with a great task force, including Ron Webb and Christine Friedman, last year's district governor. And we were able to get a $25,000 district disaster grant from Rotary International. That all went to food insecurity. We acquired and delivered 10,000 meals to the region. I mean, let's face it, we know that businesses were wiped out, families that lost their entire homes, swept away by the water, the flash floods, and you know, it's a devastating time. And then, of course, what happened? Then we raised upwards of $12,000 through our district portal, and that money is going off to Team Inc. that's giving it even further to individuals that are in dire need because they've literally lost everything, clothing, and other vital things to allow them to survive. And FEMA I just learned from Nancy Valentine, who's the president of Ansonia Club, that FEMA just left the area, so that they're hoping that FEMA will release the funds and they'll kind of get to some sense of normalcy in the near future. But it's tough out there. So I wanted to say thank you, because the work that you all do, that our district has done around that, has been extraordinary. And then we had, a few weeks later, what happened? We had Milton and Helene come through. And wow, what an impact that had on southeastern United States. And Larry Gardner, past district governor, if you all remember Larry lives in Asheville, North Carolina now. Wow, so he luckily wasn't in town when it hit. He was in Texas with his wife and his in-laws, but his house was not damaged that badly. It had some trees down and everything. But you all saw the pictures of what happened down in Asheville, and then of course in Tampa and in other areas of Florida, just totally devastating. And so we did something really amazing. So Jack Solomon, God bless him, in the East Hampton Club, Ted Hintz Jr., his dad Ted Hintz. When I visited the East Hampton Club, I had a great conversation and embrace of Ted Hintz Sr. A week later, he passed away. Very, very sad we lost him. But Ted Hintz and several other members of that club acquired a 53-foot semi. And literally, I was out in Vegas at a conference, and was weathering this from afar with Jack, who was running this thing, and I was concerned that we weren't going to be able to fill that semi in that 26-foot box truck when it hit Westport, and that we would have to do so. So I had all the districts down the Jersey Turnpike ready to keep loading it up. But lo and behold, this district made it happen. We filled it to the brim with generators and food and clothing, and when that semi rolled into Asheville from the south, it had to go south to get into the city. The district governor of 7670 and I chatted. She said she was just so, tears rolled down their faces in terms of what we did in such a fast time. So this district does not stop. We are, bar none, we're people of action, and I want to thank you all. I know what you all do. You all are an amazing club. And the tenor of this early entry into this conversation from you all, just listening to it all, it just reveals everything. This is a fun club. You're a giving club. And I'm sorry this is the first time I've been here, because I'm way up in the Madison area, just east of New Haven. But
come again.
But I am going to come again before the end of the year. But let me tell you my story. So my story is the reason I asked who the new people were is because we, as Rotarians, go through a journey. We go through a journey where we come here and we break bread and we have fellowship and we have this part of Rotary. And when you become a Rotarian for the first time, this is our first moment. And I will tell you that I didn't really know what a Rotarian was until I became president of the Madison Rotary Club. So I'm going to tell you now that was after 7-8 years of being a Rotarian. You'll see this in a moment. But I'm bringing this up because I want to make the distinction of what the differences are between a member of a Rotary Club and a Rotarian. There's a threshold that we walk through. And it's at that moment when we realize we're in it for life. We're lifers. And that this is a cause-based operation, 4-star charity navigator organization, that we know that not only the financial impact that we have, 95+% of the funds go back to the field, but the impact we have locally and regionally, internationally, is so enormous. And the smallest impact in our communities makes such a difference and changes lives. So I wanted to make that distinction, and I want to take you on my Rotary journey so you'll know a little bit more about me, but I don't think it's that different from the Rotary journeys many of you have been on. And the first one I'll share with you as I tell you about, someone asked me, it was the Stanford Club. I was in Stanford a couple weeks ago, and they said, "What's the name of your talk?" And I said, "Yeah, I have a name for it." They said, "Well, you need to have a name." So I said, "Okay." The name of my talk is Your Rotary Journey to Global Harmony. So there you go. So get ready! So I want to give you my Rotary journey. So my Rotary journey began when I was 10, 12 years old. My dad, number 2 in his class in Princeton, I was talking. The Princeton graduate, stand up. My dad got a degree in mathematics. And what did he do with his career? He became an actuary. And
I'm an actuary.
so do you know my dad, Edward Harry Friend?
No, I did not.
You did? Okay. Well, he passed away in
I
19.
feel bad now. Yeah.
No, don't feel bad. He was a great guy. But, growing up, in the back of the Chevy station wagon, I got a lot of problems thrown at me, a lot of math problems. So I was pretty good in math. So there's my dad and me. Now, he passed away in 2019, just before the pandemic. But what an amazing individual. There's my son, Teddy, named after my dad, Edward. And Teddy is now 23, living in Los Angeles, pursuing a commercial real estate and journalism career. We'll see where he ends up. And so I got that side of my world from him. But then the other side of the world was from my mom. And I need to share my mom with you because she's an amazing one. She's 93 years old. She's still with us. She's down in Washington, Bethesda, Maryland, Chevy Chase. I just visited her just before Thanksgiving. And she lives alone in the house that she wants to go in. And she's very happy. She's an artist. Growing up, she painted pictures, huge canvases. They hang in corporations and businesses in Washington, D.C. And she's abstract. You can see one of her works there. Abstract art with acrylic, with oils, mixed media. And I'm right now cataloging all of her work. It's all in the house in slots. It's an amazing house because it's got sculptures all over. in Preston, and there's her garden back there. But so I went into the world, and what am I? I'm the business side of the arts. That's what I do. So I got my dad, got my mom, and that's what I do. So I wanted to share that, but going back to the whole issue regarding Rotary, we go through this journey, and this is obviously not working, so I'll hit the button. Oh, I know. There's something that popped up. I don't like when that happens. There we go. So I joined when I first, to flash forward from where 10, 12 years old till 2000, 2001, I'm working at the Guard Arts Center in New London, Connecticut. Now, who knows the Guard Arts Center? Okay. It is a 1929 Moroccan-style movie palace that was refurbished in 1999, 2000, and here's what it looks like. It is unbelievable. And I was the head of marketing and fundraising for that organization. And so Steve Siegel, the executive director, says, Robert, you got to go down to the New London Rotary Club, and you got to meet all the movers and shakers. And who was there? The head of Pfizer, the head of Electric Boat, the head of the admiral of the Coast Guard. I mean, you name it. Mitchell College, Connecticut College. I mean, they were all there. And I got to know everyone. And it was amazing. And the first event we did, Pam Akins, who passed district governor, remember that club, and her husband Barry Levinson. Barry was in the chair of the gala. We brought in 3 Broadway stars, which I loved, and we put it on at the Guard and raised $90,000 in one evening, which turned into $270,000 in one evening because of Bill Gates, right? So it was all for polio. But that's what, so I spent 5 years there, and then when I left the Guard and moved on to other things, I went to my home club in Madison, and Madison, just an amazing club. This is just some of the people. You might know this guy here, Dick Benson, not Rick Benson, you know Rick from Westport. This is Dick Benson, past district governor. He was known for Dick's Kids. You get it? Haiti goats. He gave away goats to families in Haiti. Dick's Kids, right? So he was great. So one of my mentors, and then Jim Satterwhite, a dear friend from Sikorsky, and just an amazing individual who passed away during the pandemic. So I think of these two every day and the rest of our club. But a great club, just like this club with the fun and the exuberance. Here's where it changed. 2008, 2009, I'm set to be president. So now I got to talk a little bit about this whole thing about this Dominican Republic Global Grant. So I did not know Rotary to the degree that I did after this experience. I go into the process, and I got to jump back a little bit. I met my wife. Now, has anybody met my wife, Maribel? All right, so that's Maribel right there. That's my 2 daughters. That's Alyssa. She works for a global nonprofit in Manhattan, and that's Brianna. She's an events manager at the Hilton in New Orleans. You know, when your children start doing things, right there, right? Good. So, but Maribel is Dominican. I married into a culturally rich family. I did not know what hit me. I was running a service project at PS 123 in Manhattan, and he was running registration, and she had her eye on me. I did not know what hit me. She knocked me off my feet. And to this day, she knocks me off my feet. She's amazing. And what she brought me was the richness of diversity and the richness of being in an ethnic family. And I will tell you, when you go to a party in Maribel's family, it starts at 9 a.m. in the basement of a church, and the food flows in all day, and the merengue starts playing around 10, and the dancing goes into the wee hours. And it's just an amazing thing. So it's like the spring before I'm going to be president. We're going down to the Dominican Republic to see her family, and I decided, well, I'm going to get to know the international side of Rotary. So I go ahead and I connect up with Alexandra Martinez, who's the incoming district governor for Gurabito Rotario, Santiago. And she invites Maribel and I over Sunday morning for coffee. And I'm thinking, all right, we're going to have an intimate with her family, my family, it'll be great. And I walk in, and, well, for those of you who know ethnic communities, circle of chairs, about 15, 20 chairs, and it's all of the district was there. And all the district leaders. And I sit down and I'm like, and of course me, un poquito. I didn't go out, even to this day, un poquito. My kids are bilingual, and you know, it is what it is. But Maribel's by my side, and she whispers in my ears and tells me what's going on and what they're saying. And I can get some of it, and some of them spoke English. So by the end of that 2 hours, we had a global grant set. Now, I get back from this event, from this trip, and Rick Benson, who was then president, he was going to be district governor, my year as president, Make Dreams Real, 2008, 2009. And so Rick says, Robert, I got to introduce you around the district now. So he takes me by the arm and introduces me to all of the clubs around this area, and so they start coming in and joining the global grant, and then he says, but you got to meet these other people in District 5050 out in Seattle, Washington. You got to meet this district down in North Carolina. You got to meet this district in Doral, Florida, and that's where things went crazy, because I got all of these districts jumped into the grant, and then in Doral, Florida, they introduced me to this woman by the name of Bruni Bradley. Commander Bruni Bradley of Southern Command, U.S. Southern Command. And I'm telling Bruni on the phone what this project is, and she says, Robert, you're not going to believe this. In the spring of your year when this project's happening, the Mercy ship is going to be in the Dominican Republic. And she said, we would love to join you on this project. And my jaw drops. I mean, here we go, we have all these districts from around the country. Thank you, Rick, to introducing me, but the grant was so exciting, because what it was if you know Puerto Plata on the northern shore of Dominican Republic, and to the east of Puerto Plata is this very rich shoreline with Cabaret and other great shoreline towns, and then you go south into the valley and up in the mountains, you've got Romana, you got other very desolate, very poor, very needy areas, and we were going to update 5 schools, bring in books for their libraries, bring in water filters to create water so that they could have potable water there, the whole 9 yards. And now we added hygiene and other things, and now I had boots on the ground that could help refurbish these schools in a big way. So unbelievable. And then of course, Bruni came up to Connecticut and met with us, and this is an example of the kind of work that happened on the ground. The kids came out like nothing. We gave every kid a backpack filled with papers and pens and pads of papers they could do their work at school, and we taught them hygiene and everything. It was just an amazing event. And at the end of it, we brought back Oliver Barrett, who was my operations guy, Lieutenant Commander Oliver Barrett, and we gave him a Paul Harris Fellow. And I got a letter from the Admiral of U.S. Southern Command thanking our district for the work that we did in doing this. And it's, you know, this so I go back to my beginning, the journey. At that moment, as I go through this, I'm realizing the power of Rotary, the power of connection, the power of relationship, the power that in over 200 countries around the world, you can go anywhere you want to go and just let Rotary know you're there, and you will be embraced in a way that you've never been embraced before. And the power of the foundation, how the foundation is a 4-star charity navigator platform, just delivers so much to the world. And I'll go on to that. And by the way, I've only said this to one other club because I just got it moving forward. I do have a governor's global grant moving forward for this year, which I will share a bit later. But I wanted to share this with you and kind of move us on to this other thing. You see I brought my pop-ups and I brought something really, really special to me. I'll get to this in a moment. And keep me on target here, Amy, because I'm a talker. And I know we have 19 minutes left. I will do my best to hit that number. But listen, Stephanie Urchik, the Rotary International President, an amazing lady from Pittsburgh. She's a Steelers fan, and she's got a heart of gold, and she's an amazing person. I had the joy of spending 3 days with her here at Connect. She came to our district because her nephew is a member of the New Haven Club, and she gave him a Paul Harris Fellow. And when she came to the district, we hosted her for 3 days. We did something up at the Omni in New Haven. I don't know if anybody was there, but it was an amazing event. And I spent a lot of time with her. We became really, really tight. And in fact, I talked to her the other day. She's in Taiwan. She comes home on the 17th to Chicago and in Pittsburgh, and she gets to go home and be with her family for the holidays. But an amazing woman, and she talks about the magic of Rotary. Her idea of the magic of Rotary, the pins that you've received, is all about the idea that everything we do, everything we touch, changes and saves lives. No matter how small, they're all nuggets of magic. Her magical story, she's in the Dominican Republic putting in water filters, and this little boy watches dirty water go in one end and clean water coming out the other. He goes up to her, grabs her sleeve and says, "Lady, can you do that magic again?" and of course, that's wonderful because that's part of it. So she brought that up. And so when I went through, so for those of you who don't know, when you go through the governor track, it's a 3-year process, and the toughest year is the second year, the year that Stephanie Phillips is on right now. So you all have met Stephanie. If you haven't, you will. She's from the Stratford Club. And she'll be taking over July 1. Great thing about this whole process is year. We change the guard, and we all bring our vision. There's true continuity. Last year was mental health, mental wellness. It's part of my year. It's part of what I'll be talking about. But so the bottom line is you go into this international assembly where you're around 520 other district governor-elects from around the world. I was sitting in meetings next to Ukraine, next to Japan, next to Brazil. I mean, it was unbelievable. And many of them couldn't speak English, so they could translate. We had these little translator kits. You put the earbud in your ear, and you were able to have conversations with people in enormous ways. Lots of stories I could tell there, but I don't want to go down that path. It would take us over time. But here's one thing she did. She said, she came out on stage and says, "Hello, you irresistibles." And while she was doing this great song was playing. Who can tell me what song this is? You don't know the song? Robert Palmer, right? Simply Irresistible. And she's swaggering out there to this song saying, "Hello, you irresistibles." And of course, when we were at PETS, I went, "Hello, you irresistibles," to the presidents of our district, because that's really something that was important. And why irresistibility? Because, well, you know, you guys are irresistible. I mean, I sat here watching the pre-show here, and it's absolutely irresistible. And that's what it's about. And it's what we bring to the community. We shout it from the mountaintops. We let people know what we're doing. We change and save lives on a personal basis, on a regional basis, as I talked about. So now I was at a PETS back in 2014-15. There's this great speaker. It was a young lady. She had purple hair. She was probably in her early 30s. Purple hair. She had her purple pinky on, and she jumped up on stage, vibrant and excited. And she told the story of how she joined this club that was fun, but just fun. And she took it on as president and turned it on its ear. And she gave us this mantra that I have been using ever since, and I want to share it with you, and it's this: light yourself on fire with passion, and people will come from miles to watch you burn. And I love this because if you think about the vision of that, it's what she was doing, and it's what we do. It's what you all do in this town. You're out there telling your story in a unique, vibrant way, and that's really special. So I'm going to transition from this, but I do want to touch on one thing that's important, and that is this. Your membership is outrageously fantastic. You know, we are the situation. We hit the pandemic, and what happened? We went down, and then look at what you've done. And I say this because membership equates to foundation and impact. And, you know, we are in a situation in the United States where we are losing, we're imploding in North America. We're imploding in Europe, in Asia, and in India, and in other parts of the world, through the roof.
Yeah, right.
We need to solve this problem. But this district, there's something going on. There's some secret sauce that's happening. And this club has it, and other clubs have it. We're up 40, even more than 40. Westport's adding 4 new people next week. I just came from Stanford. At the club meeting I was at, we installed 6 new people. I mean, it's like crazy. So it's fantastic. And my goal is 100, net 100. So we're net 40 right now. You know, we've got 7 months to go. We can do it. But you know, it's about giving it away with passion. And it's not just about asking them to come by and be with us. It's about getting them by our side in service. Because when they see what we're doing, they, you know, our community says, "I want to be a part of that." That's important. And so I just thank you for that. That's real important. So let me share this.
Today, we, the Rotary Club of New London, will unveil a multilingual peace pole, signifying our commitment to creating a culture of peace for ourselves and in our community, our nation, and the world.
We pray for the power to be gentle, the strength to be forgiving, the patience to be understanding, and the endurance to accept the consequences of holding on to what we believe to be right.
So I got this sent to me a month ago, It's a Sunday morning. I remember opening it up, and I remember watching it and then weeping. I'm Jewish. And when I looked at that, and I know New London, and when you look at that peace pole and you see Hebrew, because everything says may peace prevail on earth in English, and it was in Hebrew, and it was in Spanish, and it was in Arabic. And I was in New London when 9/11 hit. I was working at the Guard Arts Center, and we lost Diane Bullis, my next door neighbor's sister, was on Flight 11. And we all, listen, I know we all in this room have connections to that experience. But that's the impact that this, to me, signifies is where do we go from here? So I'm going to take you back to my peace poll in a second, but I want to share some thoughts because we are in a place now where, the world's a mess. We're not going to change. We can't change Rotary, what's going on. Now, we did have an impact on that whole Middle East scenario because what happened? The World Health Organization, Rotary, Bill Gates, and others intervened, and they were able to. Remember this? They paused the war for 3 days so that we could bring our immunization team in. And what did we do? We achieved 94% of the children were immunized. It's unbelievable. So that's pretty powerful stuff. But are we going to solve the war? Are we going to solve the war in Ukraine and Russia? Are we going to solve South Korea? Are we going to solve Korea? North Korea? Are we going to? There are so many macro and micro conflicts. That's not why we're here. But here, I want to share some facts with you. In 2023, these are facts that will kind of hit home. In 2023, suicides, 50,000. Of those between ages 25 and 64, 31,500 suicides. Mass shootings, last year, 604 mass shootings. Of that, 754 fatalities and 2,443 injuries. Domestic abuse, 77,000, of which 13,000 couldn't even be dealt with because the resources weren't available in those communities to deal with it. And that was only what was reported. We don't know what wasn't reported. This is a big one. You all know the name Roman Gabriel? Mm-hmm. Right, so Roman passed away, quarterback for the Rams and the Eagles, passed away this past spring. Because of my work in the business, I'm working with his son, Roman Gabriel III, who is not only a NFL guy, but also CEO of the Sold Out Youth Foundation, which is all about educating youth on the dangers of addiction and fentanyl. And last year, the number one killer of individuals between the ages of 18 and 45, 112,000 deaths by fentanyl. So can we make a difference in these areas? Maybe we can. So I'm going to share with you my story on this peace poll, because I have made the decision that peace is at the center of the year this year. Now, peace has always been there, because peace was the very first Rotary area of focus. And then you got water, then you got disease, and then you got microeconomics, then you got all the other literacy, all the other areas of focus. But you can't have water without peace. You can't have literacy without peace. So peace is intrinsic, and every global grant we do, every project we do, has peace embedded in it. But it's always been kind of that subliminal thing that we embrace. But let's face it, right now, peace is very relevant. And so I made an intentional determination to put peace at the top of the conversation. And I think it has a direct connection to membership, because you can have a conversation with somebody about peace, and they're going to have a conversation with you because everyone has it right here. So you talk about peace. Peace for me, mental wellness last year, right? Ending the stigma of mental health is important because it's a challenge. We need to embrace it. Peace is tied to that. When you fly on an airplane, the flight attendant says, put the mask on first and then put it on your neighbor. The reason why is because you've got to have control of your faculties to help other people. So from a peace standpoint, my vision is this: the peace starts here with us, right here. We've got to take care of ourselves first. When we're at peace, we can then extend out and bring in our immediate family and our extended family. And then we bring in our neighbors to the left and right of us, across the street behind us. Then we bring it to our Rotary family. Then we bring it to our community. And then communities to the left and right, north and south. And it's a domino effect. It kind of spreads out. And that's, I think, the way Rotary's going to do it. So I had to find my spin on peace, but before I share that with you, I want to share you my peace bowl. I designed this peace bowl, and I designed it because it means something to me. At the end of the year, I will plant it somewhere, probably in Madison. Perhaps it'll go with the 9/11 memorial in the town green. But the front of it says, "May peace prevail on earth." But you have the ability to, and I did it all in English, so I had the ability to change the phrase. Because on the one that you saw in the film, that's all "May peace prevail on earth" in all those languages. So this one is "May peace prevail on earth." May peace prevail in our communities. May peace prevail in our homes. And may peace prevail in our hearts. And that to me is the power of what peace is. And so let me kind of take you onward to the next piece here of this, and take you to peace building. Because peace building to me is really where I want to spend the last few minutes of my conversation. I needed to find a way to transition this into something I could be passionate about. And I'm passionate on peace, we all are. But when you take the arts, which is my church, and you connect it to peace, I created something called Opus for Peace, which is basically creating harmony, inspiring wellness, and embracing diversity through the fusion of the arts. And so let me paint a picture for you. Listen to the music of John Lennon singing Imagine, right? Or you're in a museum and you're 1 foot away from a Renoir, impressionistic period, and you're up close, so close that you can see the brushstroke that Renoir made coming down the canvas, and it's splaying out, and the bristles splaying out into and disappear into the work. And then you step back and you see this incredible image appear in front of you. And that has an intrinsic impact on each one of us. And individually, it creates empathy, it creates an infusion of ideation around what the world is. It inspires us. When you're doing that with other people, if you're in a concert hall with a symphony orchestra listening to Beethoven's Fifth, or you're in a rock concert hall listening to Taylor Swift. Let's take it generationally. Or you're listening to Yo-Yo Ma's playing a single cello doing the Kol Nidre. Whatever it is, it has an intrinsic impact. And when you're with people, you could be beside or around or in a huge orchestra or theater with people, and everyone has different beliefs, but at that moment, everyone is unified, aligned, and connected. And if you Google peace and the arts, you will get a plethora of writings and information about this whole idea. So that's where I'm coming from. And so my whole idea behind Opus for Peace is that we all become peace builder clubs. And so what does that mean, a peace builder club? It means that we have the ability to create a standing opportunity in the club that goes on in perpetuity. Because this is not a 1-year thing. This is saying, we're going to embrace this. Because it connects to membership. It connects to all our DMGs. The DMGs that you're doing, the district managed grants, the community work that you're doing, you could install music or any form of artistic expression in that. It wouldn't change the product, but it would add a dimension that would be highly powerful. And that's where a peace committee comes into place. So the first thing is creating a peace committee. And that can be as little as 2 people or as many as the entire club. And then you execute a peace project. And that can be taking one of your existing projects and instilling it with this artistic expression, and then having 2 members join the Rotary Action Group for Peace, which is our global peace initiative, which costs $20 per person to join, takes nothing, and then getting them to certify it. And that's all it takes to become a peace builder club. Right now we have 15 to 20 peace builder clubs. My vision is at the end of the year we have 54. Now, we do, at the district level, do not tell clubs what they should do. We embrace clubs. In fact, as we said earlier, Amy, the clubs are what makes the district. The district does not make the club. You all are the inspiration to us in the district And we're all part of the club, so we get it. We're like, my Madison Club is an engaging, fun club just like this. But we're all different. That's what I'm getting on my journey this year, this is visit number 49. The incredible diversity of every club is just so amazing. So I wanted to share this with you, and I hope that you embrace this. I sent out a white paper, Amy, earlier in the year, which I know you have, but I'll resend it if you'd like. And it has 100 projects on the back of it after this stuff. And if you go on the district website, there's a whole section on peace as well. But that being said, we have a special, never been done before, a 2-page district managed grant called a Opus for Peace Building Grant. $500 matched dollar for dollar, and you can do something like this, which costs $350, match it dollar for dollar, $1,000, put it at the library, put it at the church. Where are you, Scott? There you are. Put it at the church or wherever, and it becomes a rally point. I mean, if you think about it, at the schools, I mean, our kids have it so tough because you think back of Sandy Hook and you think about what's going on around the world. The rally point, I'll meet you at the Peace Bowl, or put it in a community garden, whatever. This can be powerful, but also it's the idea of connecting that with everything else we do. So that impact grant is there, very easy to do. We have a community calendar that's now public facing outside of DAPDB. We have our peace polls and projects. These are all important things. And I'm going to segue on to the ending here because I know it's right almost 1:30, or is it 1:30? I do want to say that I don't know whether anybody attended the Opus for Peace Amistad event that happened at Westport Library. You did go? Great, and of course Ron was there. An amazing event. We had upwards of like 150 to 200 non-Rotarians there that saw a 1-hour version of Amistad the Opera, which by the way this spring will be at the Schubert Theater, the Bushnell, and at the Gard Arts Center performing the full opera with Opus for Peace as part of it. So we're really telling our story, and we're trying to elevate our public image. One of the big parts of this year is about really shouting from the mountaintops and letting everyone know that this is powerfully important, that you need to know the work that we do here is really special. So that was amazing. There's Rick Benson with a bunch of the audience members. And we had, up at New London, they did, this is a great picture. That's the 4 artists that sang it, so they'll be in it. And in New London, they did, at the Lyman Allen Art Museum, the New London Rotary has a new member by the name of Marvin Espy. I did not know until recently that his wife is president of Mitchell College. So he's an artist. He was inspired by and influenced by the George Floyd incident during the pandemic and did an exhibit based on cityscapes and peoplescapes of the impact of that incident. And so on the day that they planted the Peace Bowl at the Lyman Allen Art Museum, they had a talk, and here's an example of two. There's Prince and Albert Einstein juxtaposed. And his talk was a conversation with Marvin Espy, intersection of creativity, art, and peace. So the sky is the limit in how we do this, but the intentionality of creating this conversation is really, really important. So now I leave you with
Step into the magic with the Rotary Southern Connecticut, Rhode Island, Southeast Massachusetts, Cape Cod, and the Islands Magical Mystery Tour District Conference. Join us for an unforgettable weekend, celebrating a year of positive peace, service, and magical impact on our community. Mark your calendars for May 30th through June 1st at the Wellsworth Hotel in beautiful Southbridge, Massachusetts. Prepare to be inspired and surprised by our global keynote speakers celebrating Rotary through peace, goodwill, and service. Dive into interactive workshops where you'll explore the power of promoting harmony and community.
He knows what to expect. We guarantee him the trip of a lifetime. And that's just what he gets. The incredible Magical
On Saturday night, experience a musical opus for peace, featuring the incredible Daisy Joplin and special guests in a unique musical journey. Take a scenic road tour adventure to discover the hidden treasures of Southbridge, from wineries to historic sites. honour the clubs and projects that have made a magical impact. A dynamic space for young leaders to connect, learn and explore the magic of Rotary. Step into the magical mystery tour. Register now and be part of this inspiring journey.
I hope you'll all join me on this weekend. It's going to be incredible, and I will tell you, there's a surprise guest we'll be announcing probably the next month or so. We've locked him in, but we're signing the contract, but once we have him, you're going to be blown away. So I'm real excited, and if you've not been to the district conference before, this is only, it may be an hour and a half up the road, but I will tell you it'll be worth and it's very, very cost effective. It'll be fun for families to go and enjoy. And we're gonna have a parallel youth event. Do you all have an Interact Club that you work with?
We do.
So we're gonna be doing an Interact parallel youth conference there.
We're working on, Andrew Brooks is our delegate for that, and we're working on getting a foreign exchange student to come into Canaan, and we want to send people there, and we're just awaiting approval from the principals.
Awesome.
That's
That's fantastic. So there's one other video I want to show you. I know I'm a little over, so.
Oh, you're way over. I got it.